Station Network.
1 in 7 Americans will struggle with addiction during their lifetime. Want to know how you can help? Go to heretolisten.com for tips and tools to help turn addiction around. A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council.
Major key alert. Don't ever play yourself. The key is to make it, so make it.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at GetSchooled.com. Brought to you by GetSchooled and the Ad Council.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
1 in 7 Americans will struggle with addiction during their lifetime. Want to know how you can help? Go to heretolisten.com for tips and tools to help turn addiction around. A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You've accidentally cut your daughter's bangs unevenly. Do you A, line things up a centimeter from her hairline?
Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man!
No. Sweatbands are so hot right now. Everyone's wearing them. Like that basketball player and that other basketball player.
B, get spiritual.
Mom, where did all the mirrors go?
A reflection could never capture our true selves.
Huh?
Beauty is within.
C, look on the bright side.
Less time blow drying, more time texting.
Or D, show empathy.
Mom, you really don't have
Ta-da! Twinsies!
I kinda love it. As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
1 in 7 Americans will struggle with addiction during their lifetime. Want to know how you can help? Go to heretolisten.com for tips and tools to help turn addiction around. A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G, along with my co-hosts here, Santrell G and John Reed. Today, we are talking about commitment. We're going to talk to our men, then we're going to talk to our superwomen, knowledge is power, and then we're going to bring it all together. But before we get started and I tell you how to be a part of the conversation, we have one of our sponsors on the line. How are you doing, Miss Mary? How are you doing there?
Hi, how are you? I'm doing great.
Great. Mary has a book signing or a launch that's coming up, and I asked her if she would go ahead and give us a quick blurb. Mary, if you could please tell us the name of your book, a little bit of what it's about, and where people can come to your book signing.
Okay, well, it is called Poolicious, Look at Me. It is a children's series for ages like newborn to 4. So it's cheeky sweet, we're trying to put good stuff out there. We're doing the launch. It is the 20th of January from 4 to 6 p.m. It's up here in Tennessee, in Hendersonville at my home. We did the release of the book December 21st, but this is like an official launch for it. And people can go to blackrosewedding.com. That's my publishing company, our publisher, excuse me. And they can buy it at Amazon and Kindle, Barnes & Noble online, and anywhere books are sold pretty much online.
Well, thank you very much, and I'll make sure that everybody gets that, and then I will have it posted up on our Facebook page, too, for our listeners, so they know where to go. Thank you again, Mary, for calling in, and we appreciate it.
All right, thanks. Y'all have a blessed day.
Thank you, you too. Now, you guys, if you're listening to us and you want to be a part of the conversation on Facebook, go ahead and type your comment in the comment section, and we'll go ahead and get back with you. If you are listening to us on TuneIn Radio and you want to be a part of the conversation, call us at or text 678-613-5857. So we're going to just dive right on into this conversation of commitment. The first thing is, what is the definition of commitment? What does it mean? So, John, let me ask you first, since we're talking to our men. When someone mentions the word commitment to you, what does it mean?
It's putting action behind the thought or the process. So, for instance, we have many relationships, personal, interpersonal, work, family, your church, but to be committed to something is not only just to have an idea about what you want to do, but then putting action to that. And that action then has to translate into a longer term action, if you will. So commitment means that, hey, here's a thought. I've thought about something. Now let me see it through to fruition. And that takes some action, some thought processes, and then that stick-to-itiveness to ensure that it happens over a longer period of time.
Okay, right? So Santrell, what is when you think of, when you hear the word commitment, what does that mean to you?
For me, it means, firstly, that you have taken responsibility for your outcome. Because, I don't think that you can really be committed until you have taken responsibility for the outcome of whatever that situation is or that activity is. So once you are fully there and you own it, now the commitment says, you know what, I'm going to stand in until the very end. I'm going to, as John said, I'm going to take the actions to make sure that this thing comes to fruition, whether it be relationship, whether it be work project or anything. But for me, responsibility is even first before commitment.
And I agree with both. When I went and looked up the definition, because, there's a lot of us out there, we have to have what Merriam-Webster says, okay? So, their definition is an agreement or pledge to do something in the future. A commitment is to improve conditions, especially in engagement in financial obligations or just in life, period. So, a lot of us, when we say, oh, I'm going to be committed to something, we really don't take it to heart. We really don't know what commitment is and what it's about. So I always say that if you're going to make a commitment, you've got to be true to it. You got to believe in whatever you're doing, and the commitment has to make sense.
Right.
You have to be able to execute it and do it. So when we were talking here, it says, I went and I looked up some stuff that this one lady was talking about, her commitment to losing weight. Okay, but she had a spin on it because she was talking about how her husband and her were having an issue with the whole weight loss and how she couldn't get her husband on board. So now that we're talking about our men, some of her problems were, John, and maybe you can help us shed some light on this. When she wanted to do a workout plan with her husband, he didn't feel like he needed as much workout as she did because she didn't have that body. Right. That she had when they got married 20 years ago. Now we're talking 20 years. Ain't nobody going to have a 20-year body they had 20 years ago. Right. Unless you just superly extraordinary about it, okay? But the thing for me was she couldn't understand why she couldn't get him committed to helping her with her process, to getting there. So without having his support and his backup, she just didn't commit. She never lost the weight to get to it. So my question to you with men, when it comes down to you guys are saying, hey, I'm committing to you as a person, as a relationship or whatever, why is it hard to commit to some of the things that your spouse is trying to do to better themselves? Because
it may not be important to that particular spouse. So I was reading a study that talked about, and it's called the theory of interdependency. Okay. So that means that if it's important to you, it has to be important to me. But if I don't feel like it's important to me, then I'm not going to help you. For instance, so he may have been thinking in his mind, well, listen, you need to be committed. Hey, you the one that's got to lose the weight. I don't see where it's my role. I'm just saying that maybe.
Right.
I don't see where it's my role, and I have to help you get there. Like, for instance, he might be thinking, hey, I'm already there. You need to get there. But for her, she needed that support, that compliment to say, hey, listen, maybe I need you to push me a little bit more so now then I can get to that weight loss that I really want to do. So once again, it may not have been important enough to him to make that commitment to her to help her in her weight loss game.
Yeah, so but when you make that commitment we're talking about commitment as a relationship aspect of it. If you're committing to that woman to say, "Hey, I'm your spouse, your soulmate. I'm going to be there with you." You should be able to commit no matter whether you're involved in it or not. It should be something that you consciously do to help your spouse or whoever get through that. And then when we come back, I'm going to talk about some things that I read that men have a problem with committing to, and we're going to discuss that more with John and Santrell. So if you have comments, go ahead and reach out to us because we want to hear from you.
No word in the English language is less convincing than probably.
Are you sure we should get matching tattoos on our first date?
Sure. We'll probably stay together.
Probably? It's been 23 minutes since I ate. I can probably swim.
You should wait 30 minutes.
Okay, now tell me what to do. Cannonball! Cramp! Oh, I have a cramp.
I can probably hit the green from here.
Probably.
Can I get a mulligan?
Ready to go?
Hey, are you sure you're okay to drive?
Yeah, I'm pretty sober. Yeah, I'm probably okay.
Probably okay isn't okay, especially when it comes to drinking and driving. If you're drinking, call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Did you just look down at your phone? You did it again, didn't you? You know, you're flying down the road in a 3-ton hunk of steel, and a text takes your eyes off the road for an average of 5 seconds. At 55 miles per hour, that's long enough to travel the length of a football field and cause some serious damage. Turn it off. Trust me. Whatever it is, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextsstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Sensation Station Network.
Say about that.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G, along with my co-hosts, Santrell G and John R. We are on the Sensation Station Network, radio not dumbed down. If you're listening to us today, we're talking about commitment. If you want to join the conversation and you're listening to us on Facebook, please go ahead, type your comments in the comment section and we'll read them out on air and we'll discuss it. If you are listening to us on TuneIn or you just want to call in or text, you can do that at 678-613-5857. When we went to break, we were talking about how men don't want to commit necessarily when their wives or their spouses or significant others are trying to set a goal for themselves but need that support to get them over the hump and get them through. And I mentioned earlier that we have to take the commitment seriously. You know, you mentioned that sometimes it may not be important to them. The biggest thing for me for commitment, especially whether it's with our men, you have to go in with both feet or don't do it at all. If you don't commit, then you're not going to finish whatever the task or whatever it is for you. You'll continue to be lazy. You'll continue to fall into that realm. So, John, when we were talking about that, and I said before the break, you know, when you commit to a spouse or a significant other that you're going to be spending your part of your life with them, to me, that means you commit to everything.
And so when I was talking about this theory again, about the theory of interdependency, relationships are a series of costs and benefits, right, between partners. So one of the factors is satisfaction, right? The individual receives many benefits without that much cost. Right. So in this case, the female would reap the benefits, and it doesn't really cost the guy that much. But satisfaction is one of the interdependencies. The other one is alternatives. The individuals can't get their needs met somewhere else. So this wife couldn't get her needs of being, that focus about getting the weight loss from anywhere else. She wants it from her husband.
Right.
And then the third thing is investment. The individual has a number of important resources devoted to that partner. So in terms of long-term relationships, which is a series of costs and benefits between each other, we have satisfaction, we have the lack of alternatives, if you will, and then investment. What time have we put into ensuring that our goals are met congruently, both together? It's insensitive, and sometimes long-term relationships don't work out because that other person is not getting what they want. They only consider the cost and not the benefit it is to that particular spouse.
Okay. So,
That makes sense.
yeah, it makes sense. Central, do you want to add to that, or you have anything to add to that?
I do, because what immediately came to mind with this is that what we have to be very careful about, because weight loss is a very good example of that, is that we're not looking, even though we want support from our partner, we can't look to them to validate it. We can't look at them to provide this, that we won't do it if we don't have their support, because that means that we are not taking responsibility for the outcome. Because in the end, whether my husband supports my weight loss efforts or not, it is still my responsibility to go out and make sure that I'm healthy. Now, yes, sure, I would love to go out and we do these things together, but if that's not his thing, it is still the responsibility of myself to make sure that I go out and lose the weight. So it's a little bit of a different spin, because, as John said, there are costs and benefits. I would want his support, but we have to make sure that we understand my husband is not there to save me.
Right.
The at the end of the day, I have to be strong enough to go ahead and lose that weight for myself, because if my husband was not there, what would I do?
Well, see, and I looked at it totally different from both of you. Okay, because I'm looking at commitment as, especially in relationships and as family, we're always saying how we want things to be better, or we want to be a cohesive unit, and we want to be a strong front, but you're only as strong as your weakest link. Okay, so if let's look at it as a vehicle that's running. If you get a flat tire, that car isn't working right?
Right.
So if you have a family and you have one, like the wife was trying to get healthy, to be there longer, to be a part of, sometimes, you have to put yourself outside of whatever and make your family stronger, because not only are we talking about commitment, we're talking about communication. Okay, you're not only committing that I love you, but I'm committing to making my family strong. So that's how I looked at it. I don't think she was, from what I was reading, saying that I needed his support in order for me to lose weight. What I thought and what I read was it was harder for her to get started and go on and do it, because the things she would set in place for herself to do, it would kind of be contradicted because of the type of meals he wanted to eat or the things he wanted to do. And that's what I'm saying with commitment. Are we committing totally?
Right.
Or are we not committing at all?
And in this situation, it infers that they're already in a committed relationship.
Right.
Right? And so what if you're not in a committed relationship? The modern landscape of dating today tends to be where what's in it for me, quick, fast, and hurry.
Right.
If I'm not getting it, then I'm gone.
Right.
But then that goes back to what we've been talking about in these other shows, choosing what's best for your life, communication. You got to know what's good for you and what's not. So if you're in a situation where it's unhealthy, then you got to step outside of that. But with men, I find, and in reading, it's hard for them to step out of their comfort zone. Why is that?
It's like I said, what's in it for me? Like in this scenario, this guy may have said, hey, my diet is going to change now. Instead of thinking that it may be healthy for him to change his diet, right?
Right.
And so when you're selfish or immature,
keyword, selfish,
you don't think about that other person, even if you are in a committed relationship. And now, because of our social norms today, it's changed from when it was 10 years ago.
Right.
Right? And so now you got these group of men growing up and like, hey, I'm not getting my needs met right away.
It's that what's in it for me mentality.
Exactly.
And one of our listeners, Sharon, she said, commitment can't be achieved effectively without effective communication. And that is so key.
It is key, because, and even when you were talking about the meals, yeah, I absolutely agree, because like I said, we are like a broken record. We talk about commitment because we understand how important it is. But at the end of the conversation, if I have articulated to you why I would like your support and so on, if that is still not exactly what happens, I still need to go forward, even if it's, you know what, you're going to eat this fried chicken, but I'm eating this grilled chicken. I still have to, because I'm not going to disrupt the family, because I do get what you're saying. You don't want to disrupt the family unit. Well, you know what? I'm not going to disrupt the family. It may be that you just eat this and I eat this.
Right.
You know.
You got to come to a common ground. And like
Right.
Sharon Gilbert said, what's in it for me is the absolute worst mindset.
Right.
And it is. But unfortunately,
Yeah.
that's where we are in today's society, because the institution of family is so broken and so
Right.
lost. We don't even know what that is anymore.
Right. And then we
You
think
know?
about too, Cherry, and we don't know this situation, but there are situations where, you know, if this person has continued to go, okay, every week it's this, I'm going to
Right.
get my weight off and do all this, and the husband has been supportive, it's like, okay, here we go again. Now I want to see if you're really going to do it. It's not that he won't be supportive,
Right.
but I want to see if you're going to keep your word to yourself, because you have to trust your own word. If you say you're going to lose that weight, it doesn't matter if he trusts what you say.
Right.
You have to trust your own word that no matter what happens, you're going to take responsibility for it and you're going to go lose that weight.
Yeah, the biggest thing is, like I said, you got to take commitment seriously.
And the
You
commitment
got-
to yourself.
Right. You got to be involved in the commitment. Don't just
Yeah.
say, I'm going to do it. You got to be involved in it. And it takes planning, and it takes a right mindset for change.
That's
So
right.
if you're not in that mindset, again, you shouldn't be trying to make commitments. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more to our women and then have some more questions for our men. You are listening to Destiny Talk Live, and I'm your host, Cherry G.
Hi, I'm Viola Davis. Did you know that 1 in 5 kids in America struggle with hunger? Growing up, I was one of those kids, but we can solve this. When we make breakfast happen for kids in our neighborhood, we have the power to end childhood hunger, create bigger, brighter school days, and healthier minds and bodies. Go to hungeris.org and lend your time or your voice.
We're hungry for more.
A message from the Albertsons Companies Foundation and the Entertainment Industry Foundation.
Listen, as a hiring manager, I've got to tell you, the best job candidate isn't always the typical candidate. Sometimes they're a grad of life.
Meet the grads of life. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Sometimes the best candidates aren't the ones you're used to.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
We're more connected than ever before. 90% of America's students use some form of social media, but not all of it's used in a good way. Hurtful posts online are leading to social isolation for many. Psychologists say it's bullying in a brand new way. Well, Beyond Differences and I Keep Safe are looking to change that with ideas for students, their parents, and even teachers. Take the pledge to be kind online and learn more at wearekindonline.com.
If you're looking for that ratchet, you're in the wrong place. It's the nation's urban internet station, Sensation Station Network.
Up in the sky, it's a bird.
It's a plane. Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G, along with my co-hosts, Santrell G and John Reed. We are talking about commitment. If you are listening to us on Facebook and you want to join the conversation, go ahead and type your comment in the comment section, and we'll read it out loud and discuss it. If you're listening to us on TuneIn Radio and you want to call or text your comment, it's 678-613-5857. I want to give a big shout out to Jacinda Lister, Cynthia Moore Leacock, Ronald Scarlett, Kimmy Daniels, Sharon Gilbert, Randall Pontu, and Russell Jackson, and Lawrence Young. Thank you guys so much for tuning in right now. Love your continued support. Now, we were talking before the break about our men and commitment and what that really means, and we broke down the definition. I want to give the definition to you guys one more time, just in case you're just joining us. But Merriam-Webster says, commitment is an agreement or pledge to do something in the future. It is to commit to improve conditions in your life or whatever it is that you're doing. Now, I know that we always talk about how men can be insensitive and how women need to have all of this support, but we can be insensitive too. Mm-hmm. The same rule applies to women that it applies to men. Whatever you do in your life and you put yourself in there, you have to commit totally to doing it and never ever make a commitment that you don't intend on keeping. Mm-hmm. So you got to measure it. Do you guys agree with that?
Absolutely.
You know, you have to agree. You have to sit and think and say, okay, is this something I'm really going to do?
That's right.
Or am I going to fall through it? And I can use an example, you know, just basically for myself, because when I was trying to make the decision, do I go to school or do I just go to school? And let me explain by that. I could go to school and just take some classes just to be doing something, or I could dive in and really do something that's going to be challenging for me to do. Not saying that a non-traditional college isn't serious, but for me, that would have been just something to do. So I had to step out of my comfort zone, and I made a commitment to go back to school as a traditional freshman at a major university. And I didn't take the adult night classes or whatever, and I had to really think about that thing, because I could finish if I went to the adult program a lot faster than going to a regular freshman. And the challenges are that majority of these kids in the school that I'm in classes with, I literally could be their mama or their grandma. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? And it was, can I step out of my comfort zone of being the adult and acclimate myself in with younger people, learning what they are learning and being able to adapt to that environment. And I'm going to tell you, it's not easy. I mean, we just got back from spring break. We started Monday. I already got 2 exams and a paper due by Wednesday. So, you know, I'm really pinching myself, be like, Lord Jesus, did I pick the right thing? But my thing is, I'm committed to it.
And to see, once again, I'll go back to that cost-benefit analysis. You see the long-term benefit of going in school now and then staying in school. Societal norms today is all about casual relationships, casual structures.
Right.
Like I said, getting it quick, fast, in a hurry without that commitment piece, because now it's okay. It's okay to Google, you know, or get a quick degree and then consider yourself an expert. It's okay to have casual relationships. It's okay to have friends with benefits. We don't have, our societal norms today have changed, and we think that it's okay. Long-term commitment is a thing of the past.
Right, and it's
so
not.
now it's not. It shouldn't be. Right?
You know, because commitments aren't just relationship, as we said earlier.
That's right.
Commitment is, what am I going to do to better the situation that I'm in? And a lot of us women, we get in this thing, especially, and I'm going to talk about weight loss because it's very intimate for women. It is for men too, but I think we take it to a whole extra level.
Yeah.
You know, we don't want to go to the gym,
right?
Because everybody's going to be looking at us.
Exactly.
Or I don't look like such and such, but we don't do the things, or we don't commit to do the things to make ourselves healthier. We got to put down the pies.
That's right.
You know, we got to put down the ice cream, and we can't say, I'll get to it later, because that's procrastinating. And procrastination is one of the things that will kill commitment or anything that you are trying to do ever in life to better yourself.
Absolutely.
And for our women, we got to be committed to be better selves to ourselves.
Yes.
You know, and that was something I had to do. I had to sit back and think, hey, Cherry, are you going to going to school because that's what people want you to do? Or are you going to school for you? Even when it came down to me losing weight and doing everything, what is my commitment? What am I committing to me? And I think I could say this, and Central, you could jump in too, for the women, if we don't commit to ourselves, it's going to be a hard road and a challenge for us to do anything else.
Oh man, you said exactly what was at the front of my head. Is it all goes back to, we forget that commitment starts with self. That's where it lies, that commitment and responsibility. But even before that, you told the truth to yourself. You said, could I do this? What is the best option? Am I available fully to go to school as a full-time student, as a regular student, and not take what you would consider as the easy way out to really immerse yourself in the full college experience? But you told yourself the truth. See, once we tell ourselves the truth, then we're able to actually take responsibility, and then we can commit. But it starts with us. It has nothing to do with the people outside.
Exactly.
Because if you can't commit to yourself, you're not going to be able to commit to anybody else, really.
You know, and I want to say a big shout out to Ted Bear. Thank you for joining in. As also Petula Scott. Ted Bear says, first and foremost, you must love yourself to expand your horizon. I love that saying.
That's right.
Because I don't care how much we talk about communication, how much we talk about commitment. If we don't commit to ourselves first, nothing else will work for us. Now, I'm not saying that, and I want to make this very clear to my listeners. If you go to Phoenix, if you go to any of those other universities, that's great. I'm proud of you. Do you. What I'm saying is a 4-year university is what I had to do, something I had to challenge myself to do. You guys don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we're going to get deeper into commitment. We're going to talk a little bit more about why it's important to commit to something in order to be successful in life.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her?
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge?
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve. It's now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend?
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Tweens have mastered the art of tuning out. Jen, there's a spider in the car. We're turning your room into a home gym. See? Nothing. But some messages need to get through. Like making sure they're buckled up the whole ride, every time. Do whatever it takes to make your child listen. Jen, I friended your boyfriend.
Wait, what?
Buckle up, sweetie.
Never give up until they buckle up. Learn more at safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dr. Phil here. You know, I help people solve difficult problems every day, but one problem has me stumped: childhood hunger. Nearly 16 million children in America struggle with it. Luckily, the Feeding America network of local food banks collects surplus food, giving hope to hungry children and their families. But they need your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G, along with my co-hosts, Santrell G and John Reed. We are talking to you about commitment. If you are listening to us on Facebook, you could go ahead and type your comments in the comment section, and we'll read it out and we'll converse about it. If you're listening to us on TuneIn Radio and you just want to call in or text your comment, go ahead by doing that with 678-613-5857. Today's segment show was brought to us by Simply Tailor, New World Street Style times Old World Elegance without borders. Represents the simple innocence of children. Visit them at www.simplytailorkids.com. For a limited time only, DTL listeners will receive 10% discount on purchases when you subscribe to the Simply Tailor site. Simply forward your copy of your subscription confirmation to destinytalklive@gmail.com and redeem your code. This offer is good until January 31st or while supplies last. Now that we talked about commitment for men and women, I want to give quick shout-outs out to Albert Wheeler and again to Ted Bear. Sharon Gilbert, one of our listeners, says, some people never cease to amaze me, whether it's weight loss, school, starting a business, a relationship, etc. If you're not ready to commit, no problem. Don't waste my time or yours. Let's keep it moving. If you're ready to commit, be honest, and I'll respect you more because I know where you're coming from. Nothing good comes easy, and you have to be true to yourself first. That is so true.
Absolutely.
I mean, all you got to do is just sum that up in one word.
Right.
And that means. And then Ted Bear says, old man told me once, before relationship, is like a stock market, one day good, one day down. But the most important thing is you must have in your life to see you through thick and thin, to not only make you a better person, but to make you a better human, a father, a brother, husband, and a spectacular mentor. And that is true. All of this comes back to one thing.
Yes.
You got to be committed.
That's right.
You got to be committed.
And see, what's the problem today is that we have too many alternatives. And so, relationships in the past, you stuck in there, and you may have had alternatives, but you weren't aware of them.
Right.
You may not have been, right? Now, because of the world we live in, we can see all types of alternatives. Right. And what happens is people will be in a situation and say to themselves, well, the alternative over here is better than what I'm in today, so let me go over here. And then that destroys the commitment relationship that we should be having. So, we talked about, before, costs and benefits, but then we have many alternatives. So then you have to say to yourself, is having an alternative worth risking whatever it is, my job, my school, my interpersonal relationships? and you have to say those alternatives I'm not going to consider in some cases.
Right. You have the biggest thing is you never give up and never give in. Never give in to the outside influences. Once you set something down and write it out, and that's one thing I want to say too, especially with commitment, you got to write it out. And it means nothing if you don't write it down, because then you're not accountable for it now. Now, when we're talking about committing with the man and the woman, what about the family? You owe a commitment to your family.
Absolutely.
Whether you want to believe that or not, you owe a commitment. Anytime you bring a human being into this world and they start breathing, you are committing to them for 18 years of their life that you are going to provide a sound and comfortable living for them, or you're going to do the best of your ability to take care of them, right? So we all know that we have people who have these babies out here in these families, and they don't have commitment to nobody or themselves. Right. So how do we break that down? How do we bring it back and make our families strong again?
Well, see, once again, when we talked about having casual relationships without that commitment, a lot of it is also because there's a lot of out-of-wedlock births these days, right? So either that guy's not committing to his family that he's created, and so now you're bringing up a whole generation of people that don't have that commitment feeling anymore.
Right.
My dad is not around, or it's 3 or 4 baby daddies, in the household, and so then you grew up with without having that feeling of pride, of commitment.
Well, here's and I agree with you on that, but we can't just look at our young men and our men out here having these babies, because the woman is the one carrying them, and they haven't made a commitment to themselves to be better about their bodies. You guys, you're listening to Destiny Talk Live, and we're talking about commitment. Don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we're going to get deeper into this subject.
Tweens have mastered the art of tuning out. Jen, there's a spider in the car. We're turning your room into a home gym. See? Nothing. But some messages need to get through. Like making sure they're buckled up the whole ride, every time. Do whatever it takes to make your child listen. Jen, I friended your boyfriend.
Wait, what?
Buckle up, sweetie.
Never give up until they buckle up. Learn more at safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Indoor baseball, anyone?
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool, and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
And so a new American industry has been born.
Sensation Station Network.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live, and I'm your host, Cherry G, along with my co-hosts, Santrell G and John Reed. Before we get back into our segment of commitment, John has a quick announcement he needs to read.
Yeah, I wanted to give a huge shout out into one of our sponsors, Ebony Ham, and she's with the Trinity House Ministries. The Trinity House Big Bethel is a 36-bed transitional housing and rehabilitation program, which is much more than a shelter. It's a lifeline for men to turn their lives around. Trinity House restores hope by providing support services leading back to employment, income, and recovery. So if you would, check out Trinity Community Ministries. They're on Bell Street in Atlanta, Georgia. And also check them out on Facebook at Friends of Trinity Community Ministries, nonprofit that is after my own heart. And I want to say thank you, Elise, for having them on the show.
Thank you very much. If you are, again, listening to us on Facebook and you want to join the conversation about commitment, go ahead, type your comment in the comment section and we'll read it out on air and we'll converse about it. If you are listening to us on TuneIn Radio and you want to be a part of the conversation, you want to text or call your comment into 678-613-5857. Just before the break, we were talking about commitment and women and their bodies and bringing children in. Sometimes we are what we call a product of your environment. But I'm here to tell you don't have to be a product of your environment. You can commit to do something different. Commit to change the situation you're in. But the key thing is you got to want to change. You got to want different. You got to want to do different. we have to commit to be bringing back stronger family units. I know when we were growing up as kids, and I'm sure you guys can relate to this, it was family. I mean, we all knew where we all stood, where we had to be. Didn't necessarily mean that both parents were in the home, but you were family. We knew when to be in the house and when not to be out. You know, at 6 o'clock, you better not be coming down the street trying to get in the yard. You better be on the porch before that light hit.
That's right. There are unwritten rules that we knew.
Right. So now, all of these outside influences, all of these alternatives, all of these other things that we have in our face, we just don't know how to have the strength or the know-how to commit.
Absolutely. And like we were talking about on the break, it's really, you know, the impact that a lack of commitment had on you as far as your family is concerned and so on. You know what you saw, what you experienced that you didn't care for. So with your own family, you have to be very conscious of the decisions that you're making, that you're telling yourself the truth that no, this is not what I want, and I'm going to put forth conscious effort to make this thing different.
Right. You know, and they said the 3 major reasons why commitments can't be made and people don't commit to them is their perfectionism. Got to be perfect. Everything has to be right. I'm here to tell you nothing's ever right.
No.
No one's ever perfect. Lack of faith. And that's a big thing. You don't have enough faith or commitment in yourself that you can really accomplish the task that you're setting out for yourself. And you generally inability to keep commitments due to history of failures.
Yes. Yes. And I think, too, you put in a keyword, failure. People look at that as with such negativity, and I'm here to tell you it's not, because when you fail, the objective is to learn. You're going to fail. I just heard something, fail forward. There is going to be failure in all of our lives, but it's what you do with it. So don't let any quote-unquote failure be a weight on you. Just make up your mind that you're going to learn from that failure, and you're going to keep moving forward. It's just a way to learn.
Yeah, I used to hear a lot when I was growing up, nothing beats a failure but a try. So if you fail, you get down, you fall down, what do? You get back up again and keep moving forward. I mean, you can't let outside distractions or things that from the past keep you from moving forward, because if you continue to do that, you're going to stay stuck. You're never going to get to that goal or reach the part in life that you want to reach to. So my thing to you is that once you commit, you got to be serious about what you're doing. You can't just commit, you got to be involved. You got to take it serious. You guys, you're listening to Destiny Talk Live, and when we come back, we're going to get more into some tips on how you can make a commitment and keep it.
No word in the English language is less convincing than probably.
Are you sure we should get matching tattoos on our first date?
Sure. We'll probably stay together.
Probably?
It's been 23 minutes since I ate. I can probably swim.
You should wait 30 minutes.
Okay, now tell me what to do. Cannonball! Cramp! Oh, I have a cramp.
I can probably hit the green from here.
Probably.
Can I get a mulligan?
Ready to go?
Hey, are you sure you're okay to drive?
Yeah, I'm pretty sober. Yeah, I'm probably okay.
Probably okay isn't okay, especially when it comes to drinking and driving. If you're drinking, call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. This is a part of the show where we send out our prayer requests to our listeners and our friends and families that are out there. We want to send a prayer for the Curry family. Marcus Washabu Curry passed away. His friend Drew Gooding put the post out there. We want to pray for Daryl Simpson, Monica Gigi Shields, Wright Lorenzo. Pray for his daughter and his sister. They're in the hospital. Christina Ruiz, Senora Zanora passed away. We also want to pray for the Wendy Davis Golden. Her mom passed away. Miss Louise Davis. Raymond Romero Jr., he's being laid to rest today, and that is one of our hard hitters, nephew, Calixto Guadalupe. We're praying for you. Mr. Calvin Turner passed away, and also Miss Eva Brown passed away. and Derek Moore's sister doll passed away. And we also want to give a big prayer and out to Andre Tate, one of our co-hosts, Pastor Tate, and his family, and just pray that God continues to be with them as they're going through their time of need. You're listening to Destiny Talk Live.
Everybody successful lays a blueprint out. You laid the blueprint out. I stayed true to my dreams. And by doing that, eventually it came true.
A lot of times, it's like in life, right? Life brings like drama, and you got to deal with this person, and then you funky relationship here, and all these things. You try and just kind of balance them out as best I can.
Make a choice, right? You just decide what it's going to be, who you're going to be, how you're going to do it. Just decide. And then from that point, the universe is going to get out your way.
Everybody wants to be a beast until it's time to do what real beasts do.
Unleash your beast. Write your history.
Hey everybody, this is Santrell G, and I want to talk to you guys about some knowledge today. Knowledge about commitment, Jerry and John. What do you think about that?
I think it's great. Let's do it.
All right. And the knowledge that I have today, it really starts with self, like everything we've talked about. When you're looking at commitment, first figure out why you can't commit. Start telling yourself the truth, because you've got to get to the origin, the root of why are you not committing? Is it because of what you saw in your family? Is it because someone did you wrong in a relationship? What is it that's causing you to not commit? If you're in the workplace, is it that you totally don't buy in to this project or this department that you're in? Maybe you're in the wrong area of work. So figure out what the truth is so that you can resolve it. The next thing is then take responsibility for the outcome. I just read an article from the Harvard Business Review, and it talked about we sit back and we wait for someone else to be the source of our relief. It's not the case. No one is coming to save us. We have to take responsibility for the outcome of this thing. Once you take responsibility for it, this is mine. You take ownership of it. You take ownership of the health of that relationship, your part in the health of that relationship. You take ownership of your part of this team, this work that has to be done. Once you do that, then you can actually go ahead and commit to the steps that you need to take, to taking action to move yourself forward. We've talked about losing weight. You can take responsibility for financial fitness in your family. What is your part about that? For some of us, it may be not buying shoes. For a man, it may not be buying those suits or whatever it is, but you can take responsibility for your part in it. When you're working with a team, you can go ahead and commit to the work that you're responsible for because you see how you impact the outcome of that thing, and then move forward into action. But it all starts with self. You've got to tell yourself the truth and understand that you have to trust what comes out of your mouth as well. A lot of times people are not able to commit because they don't trust themselves. That's a part of your character. And if you don't trust what's coming out of your mouth, then you know that your actions are not going to line up and nobody else is going to trust you. So tell the truth. Take responsibility so that you can act on that commitment and move whatever it is that you're trying to get done forward.
I think that is really well said.
I try.
Because you know what? A lot of people, it's also a hard pill to swallow.
It is. Because who you're dealing with, Cherry?
You're dealing with yourself.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
Some of us don't like ourselves.
No, ma'am.
We gotta be better about it.
And to your point, you know what? We talk about this a lot. One of our favorite sayings is the good, the bad, and the ugly. Sometimes it's not going to look good.
Right.
But when you tell yourself the truth, I would in no way tell you, don't walk under condemnation. It's a freeing thing when you know what this thing really looks like, right? So, okay, you know what? This is good over here, but this thing I need to work on. So don't walk under condemnation, even when it doesn't feel so good,
yeah,
right?
I mean, you got to take ownership of
That's
who you
right.
are. So,
Ownership.
John, tell me, what are your thoughts on that, on some of the stuff?
I agree with Santra. One thing is we have to seek see the benefit that we bring to the table.
Right.
If I want to be in a committed relationship, what am I bringing to the table?
Yes.
Right.
So we talked about cost and benefits again. Well, I do, because I guess because my background is finance, but I use that in relationships as well. Seek the investment in yourself, and then say to yourself, "Hey, listen, this is what I bring to the table. Am I looking for that compliment? And then we can marry together, and then we can be in this committed relationship." And once again, if I'm introspective, be satisfying. Be somebody that I want to, that I enjoy being around.
Yes.
And then thirdly, find those compliments. Find that person that compliments you and you compliment them. Because if you don't, then that committed relationship may not last at all.
Right.
Right.
I always like, and you use it as a finance thing. I like to do it too. I always like to say, what is your ROI? What is your return on investment?
That's
Because,
right.
guys, your time is your investment. And I want to give a big shout out to Pastor Bobby Elise for tuning in. He also said, righteous man falls 7 times before, they get it right. I mean, I don't care how many times you hit bottom. You can always pick yourself back up. The key thing is commit to not doing the same thing that got you in that situation in the first place.
Exactly.
You've gotta know what your worth is.
That's right.
You gotta know
right.
what you're capable of doing. And guys, some of y'all know that y'all can't, and we said this, it has to be realistic when you're doing it. Some of y'all, you have to be honest with yourself. If you know, and I'm just going to throw this example out there because I saw it in an article. A young lady was like, well, a guy in school says, I'm going to play basketball and go into the NBA. But he did nothing to prepare himself to get to the NBA. So needless to say, this kid didn't make it to the NBA. But why would you think you're going to make it to the NBA if all you get out there and dribble the ball a couple of times during practice when you're team practice, and that's it?
That's right. You've got to do the work. And I think that's what, like you were talking about earlier, John, about we're such a microwave society. We want everything quick. We have got to work, whether it is you're looking at it from a spiritual level, or you look at, if you don't have subscribe to anything spiritual at all, it's about work, and you have to be willing to put it in.
Right. And most significant commitments require something, right?
Yes.
And a lot of times it's on paper. If I commit to this 30-year mortgage, I'm signing an agreement, right? People are rich, sometimes they commit by signing those prenuptial agreements, right? When we get a loan, we sign something, which is actually our putting on paper our commitment to then seeing this thing through.
Right.
In life, we don't have that written thing where we write, other than a marriage, that says that we are going to be committed. And we talked before in the past, it's like taking this personal inventory of yourself, but putting it on paper.
Yes.
Right? Because then if you put it on paper, it means a whole lot more than just having it up here in your head.
That's right.
So if we make commitments financially, business-wise, and we commit by writing on paper, then somehow we have to then internally say to ourselves, what are we committing to ourselves on paper, right, to make sure that this thing happens?
If you don't write it down, then it doesn't become real. And I want to give a big shout out to my niece, Gabby Griffin, who's watching us out there from Alaska. Thank you so much for tuning in. You're right. You have to write it out. If you don't write down your commitments, then you're not going to be held accountable. You feel like you won't be held accountable. But I want to take it one step further. You write down your commitments, and anytime you don't follow through with one, you have to write down why you didn't follow through with it and how it made you feel by not completing a task that you set out for yourself. I guarantee you'll change the way you do things. I mean, I said, and we've been saying this since we started, journaling. I journal. And for me to go back to school, for me to even commit to do this show.
That's right.
I had to sit down and weigh my cons and my pros. I had to figure out, Cherry, are you going to go with this? Because you guys, it's not easy coming into, stepping out of your comfort zone, coming into something that you're not familiar with. No way near was I familiar with this type of lifestyle, but I was committed to making a change and making a difference, and I got to take the good, the bad with the ugly.
That's right.
And nothing in life is ever easy. Everything that you get, you got to do what?
Yeah, work.
You got to put in work for it.
That's right.
And you're going to face some hurdles with school.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
You already know that.
Oh, yes.
So, you're going into it blind, and you may not see what the hurdle is, but
Right,
you
but
know
they're
that
coming.
it's coming.
Right.
Right? And so in your mind, though, you've already said, hey, I already know it's coming, but let me then get around that molehill, get over it, go through it.
That's right.
Go above it, because I know it's going to happen.
But your goal was to finish school. And just like we talked about last week, you journal. But even somebody who's just putting together, remember, SMART goals, you have to go ahead and assess ask them all the time, where am I at with them? So there are
Right.
multiple ways of
You
just
got to
check
have a
yourself.
timeline.
Yeah.
You got to have a timeline. And you
Yeah.
guys, you know, we're talking about how you have to stay committed to who you are and what you
Yes.
are. Our biggest goal is what we're trying to say is commitment is not without communication, it's not without accountability.
Absolutely.
And if we go back to what we've been talking about since day one of this show, is commitment to yourself.
To yourself.
It's
That's right.
always going to come back to inside out. Who am I? How can I take this next step into my greatness? That's what I like to say. And
That's
I
right.
tease a lot and say that everybody can't be a part of greatness, but you can.
That's right.
You can be a part of your own greatness.
Yes.
You know, you are your biggest enemy, your biggest critic. So I want to talk a little bit when we talk about committing. We always say only take on a commitment you can fulfill. What does that actually mean? It says you will never fulfill commitments if you take on too many. So start building a system to keep up with all the ones you can handle. So you don't want to go out and get a list and put down like 5,000 things that I'm going to do, and then you don't have a timeline for it, and you don't even know if you could do it or if you're really even committed. It takes a process and some time to do. You guys, when we come back, we're going to get more into commitments. I'm going to give you some more tips on it. You are listening to Destiny Talk Live, and I'm your host, Cherry G.
Sensation Station Network.
They say everyone should have one. I'm thinking about getting me an appointment.
Sensation Station Network. Sensation Station Network.
Say about that.
You cannot let a fear of failure, or a fear of comparison, or a fear of judgment stop you from doing what it is you want.
Let's talk about destiny. Destiny Talk.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G, along with my co-hosts, Santrell G and John Reed. We are talking to you today about commitment. If you are listening to us on Facebook and want to be a part of the conversation, please go ahead, type your comment in the comment section, and we will read it out on air and discuss it. If you are listening to us on TuneIn Radio, you can either call in or text your comment to 678-613-5857. This part of the show is brought to you by Edith's Best Sauce. It's a high-quality, health-conscious, multi-purpose sauce that eliminates the need to utilize several condiments. We believe it's the triple A in sauce. Always amazing with anything. If you want to purchase your bottle on Amazon.com or visit the website at www.edithsbest.com. So I want to give a big shout out to Todd Robinson for tuning in, and then we're going to dive right on in because we're talking to our men right now. Sharon Gilbert put down, I write down daily comments, and that has been very, very helpful. Before I go to bed, I take a look at my list to see what I accomplished and what I didn't, and then whatever it is that I didn't accomplish, it is at the top of the list for the next day. I also make it a part of my evening prayer, which is, Lord, help me to reach these goals tomorrow that I did not reach today. That's very smart. I always, when I do that, Sharon, when I'm journaling, I write down the things that I wish I could have done better, and then I go back and try to fix it. Now, let's get to our men. John, I know you have some stuff for our guys.
Yeah.
Give us a little bit more on how we can help our gentlemen when it comes down to committing.
Well, I was looking at a study by Psychology Today, and they had written up 3 reasons why a man won't commit to your relationship. I don't know if I agree to all 3 of these, but here are the 3. One of them is that there are plenty of fish in the sea, and he's a fisherman.
Okay.
So, guys may have commitment problems because they think that there are so many different alternatives, and he's a fisherman. Right?
Okay, I'm gonna let you finish up, and I'm gonna come back with
that
one.
Okay, all right. So then, so number 2, there is or there was someone else. So some men are scared to commit because they have unresolved issues from the past.
Okay.
And they still may be either hung up or angry at the ex, and they are not able to commit to you.
Okay.
Right? And then number 3, he has other priorities. So in some cases, one of the reasons why a man won't commit because his priorities are all over the place. He's got school, got job, he's got business, he's got friends, he's got homeboys. He's got social things that he's doing, and his priorities you don't fit into those priorities.
Right.
So those are the 3 things that they say are reasons why men won't commit.
Okay, let's go back. Go back to the first one.
Okay.
You have a little bit of something to say.
I got something to say about that.
It's all over you.
It's all over me. Okay, read that out to me one more time, please.
All right. Number 1, there are plenty of fish in the sea, and he's a fisherman. Although commitment can be a positive thing for most people, there are still certain negative aspects that turn some men away. And it says that, for example, when a guy commits, he loses any potential opportunity to date other women. Some men, or should we say immature boys, want to keep their options open for as long as possible. It's understandable why men are scared to commit, especially if they're dating again after divorce or, after a long marriage ends.
Okay, so that statement right there is loaded with all kind of dynamite, bombs, firecrackers, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
That was loaded. Because here's my thing with that first statement, the reason why I don't agree with it. That says volumes to me. I'm insecure. I'm not sure of who I am.
Right.
And that I need some help. Because this whole plenty of women or fish out there in the sea, and you might miss out on something. You don't even know who you are or what you want in life.
right.
So to me, that statement read insecurity. What about you?
It read total cop-out because it says to me that I don't have to take responsibility for who I am.
Right.
And why this relationship ended up like it did.
Yeah.
I was just thinking I had a family member, and I actually give him a big up for this because it wouldn't be what I do, but he and his wife went through a divorce, and he said, you know what? He told the truth. I right now am not marriage material. That's not what I should have done. So I'm not going down that road again until I am ready to do that. And if I don't really feel that I'm there, it may be that I never get married again. But at least he told the truth about that. But the statement's a cop-out to me.
Yeah, I mean, he's not emotionally ready.
Exactly, and he knew that.
Yeah, so my thing is, at least he was honest about who he was. He knew who he was. But there's plenty of women out there, and I'm a fisherman and fishing. You know what? Whoever wrote that, I'm giving you an X right now. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Destiny Talk Live, and we're going to talk more about not being a fisherman and not saying that you could just jump off the ship or the boat whenever you feel like it. You're listening to Destiny Talk Live.
Everybody successful lays a blueprint out. You laid the blueprint out. I stayed true to my dreams, and by doing that, eventually it came true.
A lot of times, it's like in life, right? Life brings like drama, and you got to deal with this person, and a funky relationship here, and all these things. You try and just kind of balance them out as best I can.
Make a choice. Like, you just decide what it's going to be, who you're going to be, how you're going to do it. Just decide. And then from that point, the universe is going to get out your way.
Everybody wants to be a beast until it's time to do what real beasts do.
Unleash your beast. Write your history.
People are always looking to invest in a good opportunity. So what if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change called Better Futures. With your investment, it helps students like me go to college. My name is Charles, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. Brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Listen, as a hiring manager, I've got to tell you, the best job candidate isn't always the typical candidate. Sometimes they're a grad of life.
Meet the grads of life. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Sometimes the best candidates aren't the ones you're used to.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G, with my co-hosts here, Santrell G and John Reed. We are talking about commitment. If you are listening to us on Facebook and you want to join the conversation, please go ahead and type your comment in the comment section. We'll read it out loud, and then we'll converse about it. If you're listening to us on TuneIn Radio, go ahead and text or call your comment into 678-613-5857. I want to give a big shout out to William Thomas and congratulations for going back to school, and to Lauren Shung for joining us. And John would giving us this stuff about fishermen and men out there. And
Hey, I'll be transparent. I fished in the wrong pool myself. I've been in the wrong lake a couple of times.
You know, and Sharon says there is still a double standard when it comes to a commitment amongst men and women. And Sharon, you are correct.
Absolutely.
Because when women take this fisherman type mentality or everything, we're called everything but our names, okay? But it's okay for guys to do it. But I'm letting you guys know it's not okay for anybody to do it.
Absolutely not.
That one point that you read for the gentleman, fellas, if you are listening, do not ever use that as an excuse for you not being a man and owning up to your nonsense.
Or being emotionally ready.
Or just say, I'm not ready. This is not what I need in my life right now.
Right.
Be honest with yourself. Don't say, oh, I might miss out on that right woman. You're gonna continue to miss out on that right woman because you're not in the mindset to even recognize her when she show up in your face.
That's right.
So don't even do it.
Yeah, if you got a fishing pole, hey, if you just tell everybody, hey, I'm going fishing.
That's
hey,
right.
you know, yeah, just tell them. Just say, hey, I'm really not out there. I am. And I'm probably about to put myself out there, but I got to do it because, like I said, I got to be honest and transparent. It was like when I was younger, you know, and guys would say to me, hey, Cherry, why don't you want to date? And I would tell them, because I cheat on you right now. And the reason why I would cheat on you is because I'm looking somewhere else and you just not right here in this picture. So at least I was honest.
That's
I could have
right.
probably said it a nicer way,
Right.
but that was the only way I knew to articulate it. So I would rather you be upfront and honest like that than sitting up and playing games. Sharon also says, if women use some of the excuses that men use, men would think of something was wrong with us. John, I think you need to stop reading Psychology Today.
Listen, I'm trying to bring the knowledge. I'm trying to bring what's what.
Yeah, Sharon, I'm with you on that. Psychology missed the mark on that one right there. Because I'm like, what? A fisherman and a pole. If you don't get up out of here, that is just like I read somewhere where it also said that men don't commit because women can be nagging.
Right.
I believe that.
You know what? You got 5 seconds in timeout.
Oh, yeah.
Because,
hey,
you
know.
know,
3 weeks.
guys, those are just excuses we need to leave up out of there. What else you got for us for our guys?
All right,
John?
so the second one I think is pretty good. It says, there is or was someone else.
Okay, I can
Right?
do
It
that.
says some men are scared to commit because they have unresolved issues from the past. If he keeps talking about his ex, even if it's with anger, don't be surprised if he can't commit to your relationship.
Right.
He's either still holding out hope to reconnect a past love, or he's too vengeful to commit to you.
And that is so real. And that,
That's
I mean,
right.
that can go for both.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
we all have a relationship
yeah.
history or
That's
past,
right.
but that's where it should stay, in
Yeah.
the past.
I know for me, like with your family member, for me, I didn't jump right into relationships afterwards because I was still trying to get over the nonsense that I wasted my time. And it's very bad when you're in a relationship and it goes south that you feel like you wasted your time.
Right.
We've got to stop doing that to ourselves too. Okay, I mean, because it wasn't a waste of time when you were in it. It's just it wasn't meant to last.
That's
It wasn't
right.
meant to go.
That's right.
But our key thing is what we've been saying to our men: be honest about what you're trying to commit with. And what's the third one again, John?
He has other priorities. In some cases, the reason why men are scared to commit to one woman is because they simply have other priorities right now. In that case, he might see that an exclusive relationship is something that will prevent him from fulfilling his current life goals.
I can agree with that, you know, because some men, you know, he may, or you guys may be focused on finishing college, or you're trying to move through the career ranks and you just don't have the time or commitment to give that significant other or that person. But the key thing is, like you said, you got to be upfront about it.
That's right.
You got to be,
That's
look, we
right.
can date, we can hang out, but
Or, hey, baby, I'm growing my business, and because I'm growing that business, I'm
Right.
committing 18 hours a day to that.
Right.
I can't go out and see, Lavelle Crawford at the comedy show tonight because, I'm trying to grow this
right.
business. So, like I said, sometimes the priorities need to be set up front, and that way you set the right expectations going forward.
That's right.
But again, it's what? Accountability, commitment, communication.
Yes.
Just being that type of person. And Sharon says, the last statement is true. Focused on previous relationships, face it. The key word is previous, thus it is the past. And it's true. But if we're going to be honest with one another and we're all being transparent, people don't get over past relationships that quickly.
That's right.
You know, some of them may have given their arm, leg, toe, back, and everything to that relationship, and then when it you know what? When it blows up in their face, he got me with that. When it blows
Inside
up in their
joke,
face,
y'all. Inside joke.
they can't get over it
That's
away.
right.
That's why you have your murder suicides. That's why
Yeah.
you have people stalking you and doing all these crazy stuff, because they just simply can't let go.
That's right. And, you know, for anybody, you need to take time and do an assessment of that relationship. What did you learn from it? Like you said, even if it didn't work out, everything wasn't all bad. What did you learn from it? But don't just let the
linger.
next person, don't linger and let the next person pay for
And
it.
don't make the person that's trying to get to know you pay for your past. You know, like Sharon said, accountability, commitment, and communication. Yes, ma'am. That is what it is. You guys, you are listening to Destiny Talk Live, and we're talking about commitment.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Great leaders aren't born, they're made. And not just anywhere. They're made in special places by special qualified trainers in places like the Academy of Creative Coaching. The Academy of Creative Coaching is an international certification program with courses in health and wellness coaching, spiritual coaching, relationship coaching, executive coaching, life coaching, and cultural competency coaching. Courses are online, hybrid, or face-to-face. The Academy of Creative Coaching is empowering coaches to empower the world. Make a positive change in yourself and the world. Go to academyofcreativecoaching.com.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
When it comes to saving money, don't act like a baby.
Goo goo gaga.
Be the boss and make a budget.
I'm the boss, baby.
You're the boss of me.
I am the boss of you.
Are not.
M2.
Are not.
M2.
Need a little help?
Aren't you going to do any work?
I'm very busy delegating.
Create a personalized savings plan.
We could share.
You obviously didn't go to business school.
And get other tools and tips at feedthepig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
What's a dumb way to listen to an awesome mix of urban hits? Smart off.
Sensation Station Network.
Too much sauce.
Up in the sky, it's a bird.
It's a place.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G, along with my co-hosts, Santrell G and John Reed. We are talking about commitment, and right now we're going to be talking to our superwomen. If you are listening to us on Facebook and you want to be a part of the conversation, go ahead and type your comment in the comment section, and we'll read it on air, and we'll converse about it. If you're listening to us on TuneIn Radio and you want to text or call your comment in, it's 678-613-5857. And I want to thank everybody that's tuning in and commenting. Sharon Gilbert said, clothes, LOL, home, car, mental and spiritual anguish, etc. Take time to heal before you jump into the next relationship. No one wants to be alone, but you can't make your current person you're in a relationship pay for the hurt for previous relationships. That's right, baggage. That's right. You don't want to carry that. And we're talking to our ladies right now. We're super women when it comes down to that. We will carry the sink, the tub, the bag, the car, the dog. We taking everything into the next relationship. And we're looking at them men cross-sided and sideways. They can say boo and we're like, oh, what that mean?
Right. Right. And it's so not their fault.
It's so not their fault. So we've got to learn, what does it mean to be in a committed relationship for women? Centra, I'm going to let you kick it off. Give me some things that you would say to our women that, as it relates to commitment, that we should think about.
You know, first, I cannot say it anymore. You have to be committed to yourself first, because without commitment to yourself, you cannot commit to somebody else. And I don't mean, we oftentimes think, we talk about self-compassion, that self-care. We oftentimes think that commitment to ourselves is selfish when it is not. You cannot be committed to somebody else if you're not committed to yourself, whether it be your self-care, whatever it is. So take care of yourself first, because then you can take care of somebody else. Then you can give the commitment that you really want to that relationship. In my own marriage, if I am not committed to taking care of me, making sure my mind, my body, everything is right, how am I going to fully commit
to your family,
to
or
my
your
family,
husband?
or to my husband? It just doesn't work that way.
It doesn't. So, John, now that we had you put that Psychology Today fisherman pole away, what are some things for you that women do that scare you from commitment?
Moving too fast, without getting to know the individual person, whether you even want to be in a long-term relationship with this person or not. Like you said before, bringing baggage to the table, and we don't even know why you've talked the way you talk, or why you react the way you react, because we're paying for somebody else's mistake, and we don't know that, right? But then it eventually comes out over time. So I know for me, that prior baggage. Number two, moving too quickly in terms of getting to know this person.
Right.
Because sometimes, and I'll say this, some women want to be in a relationship to be in a relationship.
Yes.
Right.
Just for the words. Just be able to tell their
Just
girlfriend.
or to put on Facebook, I'm in a relationship.
I'm in a relationship, right?
Right.
I put on Facebook one time, I said, if your relationship status changes more than twice, then the third one should be unstable. Right?
Right.
Right? Because sometimes they just want to be in a relationship to be in one. And that's
Yeah.
not that's not a benefit to the guy, who may want to be in a committed relationship.
Right. And for me, the biggest thing that's a turnoff that I see a lot of women do or fall for, and we look at, is that we fall for the first line that comes out of somebody's mouth. Somebody pays you a compliment, and then, oh, you all in love. Let me tell y'all something. That's not it. You need to slow down. Like you said, slow down. It's not attractive. And what signals or messages are you sending out?
That's right.
We laugh and joke about it. Since we started this show, I'll get like inboxes, people that say, hey, I like the show. But some of them, I just get some stuff, and I just have to sit sometimes and be like, why?
I know.
You gave up your time to do this.
You just really did that, and I don't even understand why. And then I'm in that situation, and where I don't know should I respond.
Right.
Because if I do respond, is that opening up a door or a window saying, hey, yeah, I'm interested, when I'm really not? So it's kind of difficult. So what I find myself doing is I choose my words carefully, and I'm upfront, and I put it out there, and that's because I'm committed to who I am.
Right.
I'm committed to the fact that I am going to finish this part of my life this way.
Yes.
If there are things that are going to change, and it's okay. But for starting out, I have, as Santrell like to say, Seabiscuit. I got my blinders on and keep going. And women, that's what we have to do sometimes. Not every compliment coming from somebody or a stranger is the best compliment.
That's right. And to your point, Sherry, we have to decide, okay, where I'm at today, what does success look like for me, right? What do I want to see happen in the next year, 3, 5 years? What is that picture of success for me? And then what do I need? What are the components that will make up that success?
Right.
So for a relationship, what is it that I will need out of a relationship? Is it one that, like John said, you know what? I can't devote so much time. I just, a companion, maybe a movie here and there. Or can I really be in a committed relationship? Find out what components will make up your vision of success. Tell the truth about that so that you are not leading anyone on.
Right.
And
Be
you're
very clear.
Exactly, so that you can be very clear with first yourself and then the potential person who may be a part of your life.
And I like that goal setting. I know 'cause there's 3 critical elements to success. One of them is setting a goal.
Right.
And when we talked about having realistic goals.
Yes.
Number 2 is motivation. What is motivating you to act a certain way?
Yes.
And then number 3 is that which I think is one of the more important aspects, is making a commitment.
Commitment.
Right?
Again, everything that you do in
Yes.
life, you have to make a
It's
commitment.
commitment.
And our listener Sharon says, after healing from a bad relationship, go into the next relationship knowing what your triggers are so you can respond appropriately. Go into a new relationship like it's your first, as if you've never been in love before and you've never been hurt before. Remember, this is a new relationship, so new attitude, and that is key. But a lot of people, Sharon, can't do that. They can't. They simply can't do that. And for me, when I'm looking at different things, I have to step out and have like an outer body experience. Okay, because I try to be conscious about how I respond to people, not to be rude or to hurt anyone's feelings, but the one person that I take their feelings into consideration and there is no compromise with is mine.
Yes.
You know, I'm not going to compromise me to make you feel better. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I'm going to work and figure out what's the best way to do it. And as we're talking about commitments, not only are we saying writing them down, setting the goals, and being committed to them, we got to track them. And what we do is that keep a list of commitments someplace you can view regularly.
Yes.
I say a whiteboard, get that, or a calendar on your PDA, whatever it is that you have.
Make it mobile.
Make
Yes.
a to-do list, a task list, not a
Yes.
to-do, a task list. And then you, from each comment you've made, note what you've committed to doing. You know, you got to make sure that you're committed to it and you're going to do it.
That's right.
Now, like Sharon and one of our other listeners said, they keep a list and they go through it at the end of the night and say, okay, this is what I didn't do today. Lord, help me be able to do it tomorrow. Or not even Lord, or just help me focus on doing it tomorrow. But make sure that you're staying committed to what you're doing and focus. You're listening to Destiny Talk Live.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her?
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge?
Got to get this all straightened out. Keep a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve! It's now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend?
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
So, I'm a dog, and I just got adopted by this new human guy, and I'm starting to wonder how he got along without me. I mean, okay, something as simple as walking around the block. He's got this leash thing, and he puts me on one end and him on the other, and I'm just taking him around. I think he's afraid of getting lost. Without that leash and me guiding him along, I don't think he'd find his way back home. But it's kind of cute.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
Uncle Dan? Mom? Dad? If you store your guns properly, so not just anyone can get to them. I'll feel safer when I'm playing outside.
Safer when walking home.
Safer when my friends come over.
As your neighbor, I'll feel safer.
As a school teacher, I'll feel safer.
We'll all feel safer.
Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
The dream of the future, brought to reality by
Sensation Station Network.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G, along with my co-hosts here, Santrell G and John Reed. We are talking about commitment. So if you are listening to us on Facebook and you want to type in a comment, go ahead and put it in the comment section. We'll read it out on air and we'll converse about it. If you're listening to us on TuneIn Radio, go ahead and text or call in your comment, 678-613-5857. And I want to give a big shout out to Julio Antonio Heredia for listening to us today. I had to say his whole name, his government name, because I'm his mama and I can do that. So I want to give Sharon, she says, in response to your last post, it's easier than people think. However, it is, if there's any doubt or I can't see, I'm looking up, skepticism in your mind as far as the relationship is concerned, then those issues need to be addressed. Don't move forward if you are not sure. That's the mistake that a lot of people make. Don't stay in a relationship thinking that things are going to change if they've been addressed and you're seeing the same result. At this point, you're settling and wasting your time with that individual. That is so true. And that's what we are here to talk about, is what are the things that you should do to be able to move forward, to commit to better things, to being a better person. Your first commitment, if you have not caught on to it for the whole part of the show, is to yourself.
Yes. It starts with you.
It starts with you. Everything starts with you. So when we were talking about tracking your commitments, you want to declare them. You want to declare them also. And that means your social psychologists tell us that we're much more likely to keep a commitment if we put it in writing or if we make it public. So some of you guys, since social media you feel is your best friend, if you put a goal or a commitment out there, I challenge you, put it on Facebook and track it. Put it on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, whatever it is you're using. Put it out there and let's see how you keep up with it and if it works for you. Also, you want to add new commitments into your schedule immediately. If something changes or whatever, you want to do that, then track it. Put it down. It has to change so you know that you can go on with the path. And know who depends on you, when, and why. Because you know what, guys, when you make commitments, you're not just making commitments to yourself.
That's right.
Especially if you're married, and especially if you have children, and especially if you have a job. I don't care what your job is.
That's right.
Whether you are a cashier at a fast food restaurant or a CEO of a company, you are making a commitment to your employees, to yourself, and to your consumers.
That's right.
So, Centrell, when we were on break, you mentioned a book.
Yes.
And I would like you to share that with our listeners as well.
Yes, it is one of my favorite books ever written. And if you saw it, it has a gajillion tabs in it. It is called The Speed of Trust. It is by Stephen Covey. He is the son. He's Stephen Covey Jr., basically. And one of the things that I continue to remind myself of, because it does not just apply in business. First, we have to, when I talk about trust, we have to trust what is coming out of our own mouths. We cannot get to commitment if we don't trust what we say, because that's what matters. Not about who else trusts us. If we don't trust ourselves, nobody else will be, because our actions won't line up with what they're supposed to be. But we look at character and competence.
Right.
Are we who we say we are, and can we do what we say we can do? And that applies in relationships as well. If you say that you're going to be committed to this relationship, if you're going to put forth the effort, whatever it's needed, are you who you say you are, and will you do what you say you can do? When it comes to your teams that you work with, the same thing. If you're a business owner, it's the same thing. Trust is paramount, because if you don't trust what you're saying, your actions, you're not going to be able to take responsibility for anything. You're not going to be able to make a commitment. So trust, trust, trust.
Yes, and that's important. And our listener Sharon also says, also from a woman's standpoint, some women would rather have a piece of a man rather than to have no man at all. That speaks volume for that individual and how much she values herself.
That's right.
You've got to know your worth and who you are, and that's true, because a lot of us find ourselves in bad situations, bad relationships, and we know they're bad. I mean, if you meet a guy and you see he ain't working, he ain't trying to do nothing, but you all up under him.
Why? You've got to go back to yourself and say, why is this acceptable to me?
Sharon, we will post the book title and everything on our Facebook page, so we will do that for you. Also, there are some things that I read too that said that you have to do when it comes down to commitment. You got to learn to be kind to yourself.
Yes.
You know, a psychology professor at the Stanford University, Carol Dweck, calls the belief that everyone's intelligence and ability is developed over time a growth mindset. People with a growth mindset are much more likely to succeed in their goals. And I believe that. What do you think about that?
Yeah, confidence in yourself, you know, which is different from arrogance. But yeah, have confidence in yourself, being kind to yourself. you're your own cheerleader at times, right?
Right. You got to be. You got to uplift
right.
yourself.
And I cheerlead myself.
You got to be your biggest fan.
Yeah, you got to be your biggest fan.
That's right.
And then if you want to help with your goals, find a community. Find people who share like-mindedness like you have that are trying to reach some of the similar goals that you're trying to reach and form a community.
That's right.
Whether it's a Facebook group, that's how we started with Destiny
We
Talk
did.
Live. We had first it was a call group, then we went to Facebook, and now here we are on the radio.
Yes.
But we found a support group that we all could sit down and talk about the things and challenges that were going on in our life. William Thomas, one of our listeners, says, commitment is the willingness to make sacrifices in the pursuit of progress. And you are so right.
That's
I
right.
like the way that sounds.
I love that. That's
I
right.
love that. And thirdly, you want to think about your future self.
Mm-hmm.
You want to see where you see yourself.
That's right. Picture of success. What does
Picture of
success look like for you?
Are you going to do, as we always say, you're going to take the pain of discipline? Or are you going to take the pain of regret?
That's right.
And I'm going to tell you guys, don't want to stay in the pain of regret too long because it gets expensive and harder to get out.
It does.
A lot harder. I mean, it takes a toll on your life, not just mentally, but physically and so forth. So what I've done when it comes down to commitment, and I'm going to ask these guys what they've committed to for the new year. For the new year for Cherry for 2018, I'm going to stay on task with finishing 2018 with this college thing, keep going, make the grades that I need to make to maintain that. I want to build this show to a bigger platform to where we can continue to help empower and encourage and enrich others' lives. And then also a healthy or Cherry. And my team don't know it, so I'm going to do it right now for them. I have actually reached out to someone, they reached out to me, that we're going to try to do a health fitness together. Eating habit together,
Nice.
workout session together, and we're going to challenge our listeners and our viewers to join us on this commitment, and we're going to roll that out in February. It's a part of our Road to Redemption program. So I'm going to start with Santrail first. What are some commitments that you've made for yourself that you would like to share and would like us to be accountability partners on with you?
One of the things that's main for me, because I am I think I said this last week, I'm a strategic planning geek. I love to see how things fall in order. Why do they make sense and so on? But I'm going to take, it's one of those doctor, heal thyself. The same advice that I've given others. You cannot wait for everything to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect. Sometimes you just have to move. And, like yourself, a few months ago, we changed completely, not that it was terrible, but we made some significant changes to our family diet, and I'm just continuing in on that because I feel great and I see how it's impacted my family, so we're just going to continue in on that. But that very first one for me is going to be a key for other things.
Right.
Yes. So the way you can help me is if I'm overthinking it, you know what? Come on, Central, just go ahead.
Yeah, we got to reel you back in. All right, John, go ahead and give us your commitment.
So mine is one word: focus. So I don't believe in a New Year's resolution. So my focus, my vision for 2018 is the one word: focus. I use focus in personal relationships, in my business, getting my business off the ground and more contracts, focused on my own personal health. So for me, it's the one word, which is focus, and try not to get steered any one way or another, but stay on that straight and narrow path that I want to be on.
You guys, we're talking about commitments. So don't go anywhere. When you come back, we're going to give you some more tips on committing and how you can be successful also in your daily tasks.
Marie Callender's knows that you may not have time to roll out dough for a perfectly flaky crust that's made from scratch, or enough time to mix vegetables with all white meat chicken and a homemade gravy. She knows you may not have a moment to crimp the edges of your favorite chicken pot pie, but Marie Callender's does. And when she's done, all you need to do is find time to grab someone special, sit down, and savor. Marie Callender's, it's time to say.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Great leaders aren't born, They're made, and not just anywhere. They're made in special places by special qualified trainers in places like the Academy of Creative Coaching. The Academy of Creative Coaching is an international certification program with courses in health and wellness coaching, spiritual coaching, relationship coaching, executive coaching, life coaching, and cultural competency coaching. Courses are online, hybrid, or face-to-face. The Academy of Creative Coaching is empowering coaches to empower the world. Make a positive change in yourself and the world. Go to academyofcreativecoaching.com.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. This is the part of the show where we like to wish all of our New Year babies happy birthday. So I'm going to start it out with Victor Gutierrez from Houston, Texas, Beverly Spence from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Valerie Ambers from Richmond, Virginia, Cheryl Amos from Orlando, Florida, Stacy Whittington, Orlando, Florida, Robert Gladden of Sports Fantics, Dwayne Smith Jr. of Plaquemine, Louisiana, Barbara Butts of Orlando, Florida, Christopher Anthony Hill of Huntsville, Alabama, James R. Johnson, Orlando, Florida, Diane George, Atlanta, Georgia, Jackie Henry of Greenville, South Carolina, Escamila Jr. of Patterson, California, Richard Laguna from Los Angeles, California, Daniel Slaughter from Mobile, Alabama, Patricia Torres de Cruz from El Mirage, Arizona, Abel Gomez of Carthage, Texas, Jack Smith of North Long Beach, California, and John McCutcheon of Nashville, Tennessee. Also, Maya turned 8 today, and Jalen Manley turned 5. And John, you have one?
Yeah, special birthday goes out to my daughter, Brittany Reed, who turns 30 today. I don't know if she wants me to tell people that, but
Happy birthday, beautiful. All right, Centrell, and you?
Yes, happy birthday to Terry Swain of Atlanta and Edna Smith of Southfield, Michigan.
Happy birthday, guys. Enjoy your day.
JBT 700 Miami Circle 30324. It's not a chain, it's a chain reaction.
Invest $49 a month at a real gym.
For more info, go to facebook.com/Jeans Body Tech.
Great leaders aren't born. They're made, and not just anywhere. They're made in special places by special qualified trainers in places like the Academy of Creative Coaching. The Academy of Creative Coaching is an international certification program with courses in health and wellness coaching, spiritual coaching, relationship coaching, executive coaching, life coaching, and cultural competency coaching. Courses are online, hybrid, or face-to-face. The Academy of Creative Coaching is empowering coaches to empower the world. Make a positive change in yourself and the world. Go to academyofcreativecoaching.com.
We're more connected than ever before. 90% of America's students use some form of social media, but not all of it's used in a good way. Hurtful posts online are leading to social isolation for many. Psychologists say it's bullying in a brand new way. Well, Beyond Differences and I Keep Safe are looking to change that with ideas for students, their parents, and even teachers. Take the pledge to be kind online and learn more at wearekindonline.com.
Marie Callender's knows that you may not have time to roll out dough for a perfectly flaky crust that's made from scratch, or enough time to mix vegetables with all white meat chicken and a homemade gravy. She knows you may not have a moment to crimp the edges of your favorite chicken pot pie, but Marie Callender's does. And when she's done, all you need to do is find time to grab someone special, sit down, and savor. Marie Callender's, it's time to save.
Big business. This is the American way.
Station Network.
See ya.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G, along with my co-hosts here, Centrell G and John Reed. We have been talking to you today about commitment. If you are listening to us on Facebook and you want to join in the conversation, please type your comment in the comment section and we'll get back with you. If you're listening to us on TuneIn Radio and you want to call in or text, it's 678-613-5857. So we've been talking about commitment for our men, women, and working. And now I want to just really hone in on our families, because commitment, like we said before the break, isn't just to your spouse, your mate, or to yourself. You're committing to a community of people, especially if you are married and have children, or if you're working, or if you're a CEO or owner of a company.
Right.
There are people who count on you to be committed to making things good for them. So I'm going to start off with John, because I started off with you last, Santrell. What are some things that you could put out there for our people as it relates not just to the family, but to their business, to workers, co-workers, friends, or whatever, as it relates to commitment?
One of the things I said before is that motivation. You have to be internally motivated to make something work for a long period of time. And it could be the process. Let me commit to this process. Let me be motivated to the point where I'm going to see this through wherever it happens. And so in terms of the family, the familiar relationships, we have to be committed to we're going to be a success. We're setting goals for the family, right? We're being motivated because we love each other, right? We're in this thing together.
Right.
So, that's what I would say with we're using that motivating factor to ensure that this is going to be a success for us as a family, as a whole.
Okay, Central, what do you think about that?
I'm going to tag team with John. Motive is so important. That's one of the things that I'm coaching that I ask people. What is the motive? Why is it that you want to see this thing done? Right. Is the motive to make yourself look good? Or is it that you are truly out for the success of another individual or a unit? So motive is absolutely, I think it's absolutely key.
And we want to we keep using the term commitment, right? Which infers a long-term process, right? But then in a relationship, then you have to ensure that the person that you're bringing along this journey is compatible.
Yes.
Compatible and,
right?
and also understands commitment. That's what we were saying at the beginning.
Exactly.
I want to give a big shout out to E. Winston, I hope that's right, Audrey Champer, and Antonio Chico Simpson for joining in right now. But it's like what you both said. If you're coming into a relationship, if you're not married, or even if you are married, you're in a relationship, it's going to take commitment from both sides. And then, like he said, you're going to have to be compatible. And what does that mean about being compatible? What does that really mean? You're going to have to be able to come to a happy medium together. You're going to have to be able to communicate. Got to have that. Communication. You got to have that. And you both have to be selfless.
Right. Yes.
We don't necessarily have to agree all the time.
All the time.
That's
I respect where
but you got to respect where they're coming from. You got to be able to sit down and have those uncomfortable conversations.
Yes.
And be able to say, okay, we can agree to disagree, but what's the common ground? What's the solution we're going to have to go ahead and reach our goals? Now, Audrey says, my definition of commitment is making a decision and committing to the decision that you have made concerning anything. And that's true. You have to say, hey, I can do this. I'm going to do this. Write it down. Hold yourself accountable. Some of you guys, like I said, social media, you think it's your best friend. Put your commitments out there. Challenge yourself to do better. And have those people form a support group.
That's right.
Or something to help you get to wherever you're trying to get to in life. That's what we've done here with Destiny Talk Live. And we're going to show you all our tracking. We're going to show you all our commitments and things that we're doing and progressing in 2018, because we don't want to leave you behind. We want to take you with us.
Absolutely.
We want to give you and empower you and encourage you, whatever it is that you're thinking about you want to do or change in your life. We're letting you know you can do that. You can change.
That's right.
So real quick, Central, give me something to say to the listeners that they could do for commitment. Again, you said it's what?
Motive. Make sure your motive is what it should be.
And
compatibility.
My savings are gone.
Okay, where were they last?
Here, right before I spent them on that vacation to Aruba.
Weird. Not weird. Not saving now means no money later. For free ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Great leaders aren't born. They're made, and not just anywhere. They're made in special places by special qualified trainers in places like the Academy of Creative Coaching. The Academy of Creative Coaching is an international certification program with courses in health and wellness coaching, spiritual coaching, relationship coaching, executive coaching, life coaching, and cultural competency coaching. Courses are online, hybrid, or face-to-face. The Academy of Creative Coaching is empowering coaches to empower the world. Make a positive change in yourself and the world. Go to academyofcreativecoaching.com.
Sensation Station Network.
This is my Mac Daddy vibe I'm giving you.
in all of its splendor. What's up?
From the University of Alabama, the Dallas Cowboys, Super Bowl, then prison. The remarkable story of Sherman Williams that you must read to believe. Crimson Cowboy, Peace Between the Lines, is the incredible journey of an NFL star continued road to redemption. You must get this book now at crimsoncowboy.com. crimsoncowboy.com. Meet former Dallas Cowboy Sherman Williams as he makes his way through Atlanta to Arlington, Texas for the release of Crimson Cowboy, Peace Between the Lines. Don't miss your time to gain valuable insight on how to avoid the pitfalls of success. For appearance information, please go to info@palmerwilliamsgroup.org.
So, I'm a dog, and I just got adopted by this new human guy, and I'm starting to wonder how he got along without me. I mean, okay, something as simple as walking around the block. He's got this leash thing, and he puts me on one end and him on the other, and I'm just taking him around. I think he's afraid of getting lost. Without that leash and me guiding him along, I don't think he'd find his way back home. But it's kind of cute.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
You don't usually get a stock tip from a 16-year-old, but I'm here to tell you about a different kind of stock. It's called Better Futures, a stock for social change that's not about making money. Instead, you invest to help students like me go to college. This is beyond a simple donation. It's the opportunity for America to invest in its kids and take an active stake in the future of the country. The return on your investment isn't money. What you get back is knowing you protected our potential. So one day, that potential can grow up to become surgeons and architects, executives and engineers, people who can change the future just by being a part of it. My name is Alicia, and I am your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. A public service announcement brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
Everybody successful lays a blueprint out. You laid the blueprint out. I stayed true to my dreams, and by doing that, eventually they came true.
A lot of times, it's like in life, right? Life brings like drama, and you got to deal with this person, and then you funky relationship here, and all these things. You try and just kind of balance them out as best I can.
Make a choice. Like, you just decide what it's going to be, who you're going to be, how you're going to do it. Just decide. And then from that point, the universe is going to get out your way.
Everybody wants to be a beast until it's time to do what real beasts do.
Unleash your beast. Write your history.
Hey everybody, it's Santrell G. Let's talk about some knowledge that'll help your relationships, because we keep talking about this. So when you are with your boyfriend, your mate, let's talk about some things that can help you. One of the top things that we see people do all the time is you lose who you are in your relationship. You came in as an individual. It's not a problem to go in and adjust yourself a little bit to that person, but when you completely lose who you are in a relationship, it's only going to be that other person. So make sure you maintain who you are. Continue to make time for your friends. You have to have balance in your life. That will actually add to your relationship as well. Spend time apart. We've talked about this before. John, you have time out with your boys, Cherry with your girls. It's the same thing. We don't need to be up under each other all the time. Give each other space because, again, two individuals came together and you have to maintain that individuality. Learn to compromise. We can agree to disagree, but learn how to compromise in peace. There's a difference between you're just wrong. Learn how to compromise in peace. Make memories. Make sure you're doing things with each other. You're being willing to see something through that other person's eyes. Someone asked my husband and I, how do you and Central get along so easy? Well, it's because instead of either one of us complaining about an activity that the other one likes, we decide, it's important to that person, so I'm going to go ahead and be a part of it so I can learn something more about not only that activity, but my mate as well. If you're going to argue effectively. We talked about this last week about some people say, I don't want the kids to see us argue. I don't think that makes sense at all. They need to see how you disagree. So fight effectively, and I don't even like the word fight. Disagree effectively. Don't let it be where you're being ugly and saying things that are hurtful and harmful. Disagree respectively and effectively. Give it time and the effort that it deserves. Your relationship is going to take work. You have to look at, if you're not getting the value that you want out of that relationship, is it because you're not putting in the effort? There's a big saying that, oh, just don't give yourself 100% of yourself. Just give 50% of yourself. Well, I don't agree with that at all, because you're not giving as much effort as you want. There needs to be a balance. And in that relationship, when you may not be at that time getting everything that you want, give that same behavior. If you want your husband to pay attention to you extra, you know what? Send them something. Oh, he doesn't send me flowers. Well, do something nice for him. Show him the behavior that you want him to show you. Sometimes we have to sew that into somebody else. So put forth the effort so that you can get the rewards that you want. And lastly, continue to communicate. We've been married for almost 30 years, and we have the conversations that may not be comfortable all the time, but we are in it to not lose. We are in this for the love. There's no, we are committed to each other, right? So you got to continue to have those conversations, because we change as people, and we want to be the best for not only ourselves, but for that other person.
Thank you so much for that, and I totally agree. I want to share this comment. William Thomas said his 2018 commitment is to rise above the negative chatter of those that surround me and believe in the one that truly believes in me. And that is true. Sometimes you have to separate yourself from past or present friends. You have to separate yourself and put yourself out of negative environments. We've been talking about commitment, not just to your friends, to your families, to your loved ones, but to yourself. I always say that you can't expect anyone to love you if you don't love yourself. How can you be 100 to someone if you're not 100 to you? Before we close out today, I want to make sure that I give my co-host another shot at saying the one thing they want people to get out of this conversation today is commitment was, Centrell?
Let your motive be what it should be.
And John, for you?
I talked about cost-benefit analysis. Satisfy that other person's, by benefiting. How it benefits them, how it benefits you. Do it with minimal costs. Help me to satisfy you, and you can satisfy me as well.
I always say your return on investment. Your time is valuable because it is something that you cannot get back. So you want to make sure that you are putting in the right efforts, the right steps to be successful at whatever you decide to do. Today we talked to you about commitment, and we hope that you took some of the things that we shared with you and that you were able to write them down, look at them, evaluate them, and see if they are something that can help you into your journey into being a better you. Again, you are listening to Destiny Talk Live. I'm Cherry G.
I'm Santrell G.
I'm John Rourke.
You guys have a nice weekend.